have you noticed that stands out about him?
He's super honest. He's very detailed, demanding. Isn't afraid to speak up, and it's exactly what we need right now. We need a little bit of guidance and structure, and he definitely provides that with the whole team behind him. And I think we can say we're definitely really good prepared for hopefully a good start.
How much does it help just having had all these practices under him in camp, as opposed to last year when you had to deal so much on the fly with him because of the coming in mid-season?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we have so much time, so we can just pick our whole system apart, kind of, and go through it step by step, and that's what we did. And I mean, I'm really happy we had the time, because now I think we're really detailed. We know what our jobs are. We can trust each other, and I think that was one of the messages that he sent. Be aggressive, make aggressive mistakes, knowing that the other guy has your back, and if we do that, I think we'll have a lot of success.
And what does the focus need to be here to start the season? I mean, from the outside, you know, there's so much. Are they going to make the playoffs or not? But what's the focus in here?
The focus in here just really is have a good first shift. I think that's all that matters. There's so much preparation going into tomorrow. Everyone can talk about the whole year, but I think if we nail our first shift and then kind of build our game from there, then we already won a little bit.
You and Ray getting the A's this season, how much pride do you both take in that as being seen and viewed as leaders on this team?
It's a huge honor. Obviously, it comes with a little bit of responsibility. I mean, we have great leaders in our locker room, and yeah, very honored, very proud, but I think that necessarily means that from now on we're the only guys in here. We have a great team behind, and I'm just happy we're in a locker room with a lot of leadership and kind of have that shared responsibility.
And tomorrow, obviously, opening night, how excited is this group just to get back into a real game competition after a lot of practice, a lot of work?
Yeah, everyone is really excited. I think we've done everything we can, and that was asked for, to be prepared and kind of be excited now, and that's exactly where we're at, and why we're so happy. It's just there's an end, and we can finally start tomorrow.
Thanks, Mel.
Perfect.
That game stunk.
Make them anticipating and skating and being aggressive. So just kind of that freedom and trust, and not freedom to turn the puck over or anything like that, but the freedom to use my brain and anticipate. And so yeah, I think that was a huge part of me getting some confidence back, and then yeah, hopefully we can find it right away here.
Andrew, looks like three new guys making their NHL debuts tomorrow. Yeah. I'm sure you can, looking back, appreciate what you went through your first game.
Yeah.
Just how much excitement, energy, or just that they brought these past few weeks here.
Yeah, it's been good. Some new faces. They're young. Like they're. Just like, especially Finn looks like he's 12, like he's, but they've been great. They've had all great training camps. I don't think anyone on our team feels like they got handed anything. They all deserved it, which is, a great part of them coming in. I think you see some players are kind of handed, some young players are kind of handed spots, and it definitely feels like they've earned every ounce, and everyone that's come in through the Detroit. I mean, Marco had to earn it last year too. So, yeah, it's been good. We're looking forward to seeing how they are in the regular season and how we are game after game after game. But I think our whole team's looking forward to it.
Talking around the room, it seems like guys are just anxious to get going again. How excited is this group to just get ready and get going tomorrow?
Yeah, I think just real games, and 8 games is a lot in preseason. Training camp's always long. I think we're ready to just start playing meaningful games night after night. So we know we got to start fast, especially the schedule early, and a bunch of home games too. We got to take advantage of those, and yeah.
So what was Andrew Copp's first game? Any memorable thing, or where was it?
I was in Winnipeg. It was the last game of the season. We clinched playoffs in game 81. So it was kind of like I just signed out after my Michigan season and got to play the last game of the regular season. I mean,
Did the lap,
did the no bucket. Buff hit it from me in the locker room. Played well, had an assist. We won. all good things. Yeah.
There's a lot of key divisional games early on in the schedule. What is the biggest key to getting through those unscathed, basically?
I mean, I think we just kind of have to play our game. I think we, what is it, 5? I think the first 5 are all division games, and against some good teams, playoff teams from last year. So I don't think there's any secret recipe other than we have to find our game right away, be responsible, and start fast on special teams and whatnot. So I don't think there's any secret recipe. I think we just got to play well.
Thanks, Copper. Thank you.
Todd, how antsy are you guys to get going here?
I think we're antsy. We should never say this, but I think the guys are sick and tired of practicing and training camp and everything. They want to get going, and we do as well. We need some evidence now. We need, catching them doing things right, catching them doing things wrong. Where do we need to take our game? What do we need to work on? And they need to experience the intensity of a real game. There's no doubt about it. You watched the games last night. It started a little faster, a little harder than any of the exhibition games did that we played in, and we just have to remind them of that.
Generally speaking, for you guys to be successful, Todd, what has to happen? What has to go right?
Well, the simple answer is win more than we lose, but it's never that simple. What we have talked about this, our identity. We need to play with some pace. We need to have a hunting mentality. I'm not sure that everybody knows what that means, but our guys know what that means. Our special teams have to polish up. Again, we've answered all these questions, but we're doing again. The power play has to maintain or try and maintain the level it was at last year and have the same impact on games. The penalty kill has to improve. We believe that we'll get some good goaltending that will allow us to play through spells maybe when we're not playing real well. And then on the other side of it, maybe we can score more offensively to help the goaltenders and alleviate some of the pressure off of them. So those are some of the things that have to go well. You can throw in health and streakiness, trying to maintain the good and eliminate the bad, but could really go on and on for a long period. A lot of things have to go right for us, and it's up to us to make them happen.
When you've got rookies that are making their NHL debut, do you talk to them about how different it's going to be in the regular season and how much the intensity picks up, or just kind of what's the message to them going into their first game?
We won't, we being the staff, there'll be some casual conversations, but I won't bring all 3 of them in and say, hey guys, it's going to get going really fast and intense. But I know that the players around them have reminded them or prepared them for that. I don't want them wound up. They're going to have enough nerves, and I want them to play a little loose, a little free. Their palms will be sweaty. They should be. Mine will be. But I want them to play free and not overburden them.
Along similar lines, I don't know if I've seen you guys do like a rookie lap before. Is that something there's any plans for with those 3, or?
Geez, that's half the team. I don't know. I don't know what what we would do in that situation. That's not up to me. That's a team thing, and that's why they have their group and they can do whatever they want. I just want to make sure that everybody's in the right spot when the game starts.
And I know the penalty kill has been a big emphasis for you guys throughout camp. Based on what you saw in preseason and just repping it in practice, do you feel like that's in the place you want it to be as you get started?
We'd like to think so. But again, exhibition season, you're not going up against a 28, 29% power play with future Hall of Famers on it that are really experienced. You may get 1 or 2 of those pieces, but not all 5. Montreal, they'll have a real good power play. Toronto will have a real good power play. You can go on and on. So we will get tested, and we're going to make mistakes and we're going to get scored on. It's okay. We just got to narrow it down a little bit more. And if it doesn't go well, we can't just, we can't crumble. We gotta rebuild it real quick and get back after it. So, like to think real positive that everything will go smooth, but it rarely ever does, and you got to deal with it.
Patrick Kane said the other day you can't really worry about making the playoffs in October. You have to worry about the next game. Do you have a conversation with the room about that? From the outside looking in, it's been a long time since.
Yeah, I was I was asked, I think Andrew Copp had mentioned, playoffs or bust or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that attitude. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's an expectation that we all have tucked away somewhere in what we're playing for. But that's a really long-term goal. I don't think our group should be focusing at that when it's 82 games away. We've got work in front of us. We should work in small segments right now and try and get our game off and running and then fix it and improve it. And as the year goes on, maybe we can begin to talk about that long-term goal. But we've got a lot of work to do right now for that to take care of itself.
Just on the subject of Andrew, what appealed to you about putting him with that line? Like, what is Andrew when he's at his best?
Andrew Copp, you're talking about. Well, he and JT are playing with a young player. They have experience, obviously themselves, and with their teams or this team. Both are centermen, so JT and Copper are both centermen. Both are really important players, and we've pushed both, not only last year, but we reminded them this year, so we're putting them together with a kid. Experience, some size, some poise, some directness, some heaviness. We expect all that from those three. But then Copp and Comfer in particular, they could be big penalty kill pieces. And we've used them a lot in exhibition season in that role, and we'll start with them there. And if they embrace it, lead it, that would be a real good thing.
As a coach, some coaches use segments and things like that. Do you do anything like that? Obviously, you came in last year and it was on the fly. Now you come in and from the start. Do you do anything like that when it comes to breaking things down that way? Or
Not necessarily, hey, you know what, it resets after every 5 or 10 games, because it flows into, one segment flows into the other. I'll take our 7-game win streaks last year. Things were going really good, but in games 6 and 7, your game gets a little sick. You may start cheating a bit, yet you're getting passing grades with some of the statistical stuff, analytics stuff, but it'll eventually catch you if you're not aware of it. So if you're completely segmenting games and then starting over again, it doesn't quite work that way. I think you can make stats work for or against you any way you want. Our penalty kill may be, or use power play, for example. We may have scored 3 of our last 10, but all of a sudden we've only scored 3 in our last 15. The number looks way different. But the simple fact is there was a 3 there at one point, and you could make, again, with players or with media or anything, you can use stats for or against your argument any way you want.
And then with Montreal coming in, they've got a couple of young players, but they got one defenseman who looks probably career progression-wise that maybe something Axel might go through, size-wise, moving the puck, things like that. When you look at kind of guys like that and maybe some other examples around the league, where are the things that you kind of look at with Axel and things that maybe he needs to see as the league, as his type of player fits in the league and he grabs his spot?
Yeah, there's examples of players maybe that Axe is similar to, but I again, not overburdening him, not sitting down and saying, I think you're referencing Hootson, for example, there, hey, you know what, take a look at this guy, look at what he's doing. We need Axe to be Axe first. We need him to feel good about what he believes his tools are. And he has to figure out the pace of play and situational play so that he can apply those tools. We don't need a whole bunch of confusion yet. Later on in his career or further down the road, maybe we can introduce a few things that some of the other players are doing. But let's just get Axe to settle in and be Axe.
Andrew Copp said that there's no, quote, secret recipe for starting the season off right. You face so many divisional opponents right away. How do you feel about facing so many stiff competition immediately to start the season?
I'm okay with that. I think it should put us on our toes. We have to play these teams at some point. If you reference last year, I think it was maybe coming out of the Olympic break or a little bit after, it was, holy, look at who you have to play and how many games it's going to be and the gauntlet you have to go through. Well, it happens at some point. We can't get overly high or overly low on what might happen throughout the first 5-6 games. We have to be aware that there'll be ups and downs, and if there's downs, we can't drag ourselves into the mud and never get out of it. And if there's highs, we can't just think we're going to be parading around in June, like Florida has done for the last 2 years. It doesn't work that way. The early part of the season gets so magnified. Wins and losses, especially if you're 0-2 or 1-3 or something like that. Well, that 0-2 and 1-3 can happen in December, and we don't even talk about it. So we've got to be aware of good and bad and how much it affects us, taking us up or down. And that'll be our job to make sure that we're managing that.
And then for you personally, you were with the Red Wings when they won their most recent Stanley Cup. You oversaw some of the great players in this team's history. You're starting your first full season behind the bench for the Red Wings centennial season. What does that mean for you personally when you look back and kind of reflect on that?
Well, I think any time you get to be a part of the Red Wing organization, it's special. It's not just Todd McLellan or anybody else. That this is, as I said before, an original six franchise. It's got 100 years of history. The players that have come and gone and left their mark on the franchise, the city, it's incredible. And maybe one day we should sit down with the players that are here now and take them through a history class, because I'm not sure everybody knows exactly what's happened here prior, and the individuals that have been walking around. Like we see Lidstrom and Cronwell and these types of players come back through the locker room now. But my first go around, it was Mr. Howe, Mr. Delvecchio, like these types of individuals were walking through the locker room, and that was, for me, really special. Anybody that understood the history, to have them walk through, and Gordy would walk by and he'd throw his elbow out, or even seeing Vladdy the other night on the big screen. I remember that would happen at our games all the time. They'd bring him and he'd watch and he'd be cheering, and now to see him 25 years later or 20 years later, it's incredible. So I rambled on. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's just how I feel about being a Red Wing. It's special.
You touched on this a little bit ago, but the physical component of the game is important, but then there's also the mental component. How do you coach that or prepare players for that? Before
the mental aspect you're talking about?
Just the grind of the season, yeah.
Well, we've tried to push our group. We've tried to, throw a camp, put them in situations maybe where they're stressed, get them tired, and then ask them to do tasks. We've talked about it during the games in exhibition season when it hasn't gone well. We talked about it just this last game against Toronto. Like we took 3 penalties in succession, shot the puck over the boards twice, and it started with an offensive zone careless penalty. Like, we don't need that. Those are all mental things. We gave up 2 goals in 50 seconds after coming back against Toronto in the third period. We don't need that. That just means you didn't go out and you weren't prepared. So we've talked about it. We've stressed it a lot. There isn't any magic potion we can throw over the players. They just have to grow up and experience it more. And you'll hear us use the term game management. A lot of that's between the ears.
Daily JVR update getting closer, you think?
Closer, yeah. Closer, looking better. Certainly he's not going to play tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, but we play Saturday. I think that would be a good option for him on Saturday if everything goes well. Getting updates from our training staff about him physically, but also updates from our sports science department that monitors his workload and all that type of stuff. And he's starting to push numbers that are realistic for game situations.
That kind of stuff pretty amazing. Considering where you started.
Yeah, it is. Talk about 08. We didn't have that in 08, and we found ways to win. So sometimes we have too much technology. Simplicity is still part of the game and common sense, but our guys do such a good job and give us so much information that we have to kind of wade our way through it, but it's helpful.
Is your lineup set for tomorrow?
For the most part it is, yeah. Gibson's going to start, yeah. That isn't set yet. And that could be, if I told you who it was and we start playing the game, and you're going to call me a liar 5 minutes in, so. I know you will.
Todd, Montreal is opening up their season today. Is there any advantage of them playing tonight and then moving into here to play while you guys are playing your first game?
Well, some would say disadvantage because back-to-back and travel early in the year. But I do think it's, the teams that get a game underneath their belt, they'll have a muscle memory and a brain memory of how intense it was, how fast it was. Ours are going to have to figure it out. And sometimes tendency is you overplay in the home opener. You're trying to do everything and you get nothing done. I hope our group is not like that. I hope they get out and just play. But I can't tell you in all my years that there has been a common repetitive, hey, this is what's going to happen. Some nights it's great. Some nights you leave the rink and go, like, do we even know how to play the game? It's just opening night's a unique one. Okay, see you tomorrow.